Good afternoon, everyone. It's Thursday, September 18th. This is the Education and Culture Committee. Here with my colleague, Councilmember Albornoz, and Councilmember Mink will be joining us shortly. We have two items on the agenda today, which I'm very excited about. First is, this is actually 2 years since, to the day, my staff tells me, since we actually discussed this item. So welcome back. If you go watch the video, you were here 2 years ago today. Talking about adult education efforts at Montgomery College and McHale. The other is that we have the new executive director here today. So, well, excuse me, I'm looking right at you. Yes, I saw you at the were you at the B this year?
No.
You'll be at the B.
I was there earlier in April.
In April, that's what it was. Okay. All right. We hope it's good to have you with you, Mr. Etienne, and welcome and congrats on the new role. I know we had you here before us, and we're really glad that you're here. Our second topic is also related to the college, an update on the East County Educational Center, which we're excited about to hear. So with that, I'll turn it over to our great team, Ms. Cummings, to tee us up.
Thank you, Chair Jawanda. To start the conversation today, we have the Montgomery Coalition for Adult English Literacy, McHale, here to share some updates on their programming for adult education. In the packet, you'll find updates on their strategic plan. They're wrapping up their strategic plan and starting to focus on updating it for the next couple of years. Updates on class enrollment, learner progress, their class sites, grants, and community learning groups. And with that, I will turn it over.
Thank you.
I just hit your button there, Mr. Yeah, there you. No, it's off. There you go. There you go.
All right. Thank you and good afternoon, Chair Jawando. Good afternoon, Councilmember Albornoz. Thank you so much for the opportunity to provide you with this update. And thank you for this committee and also to the County Council for the steadfast support you've shown McHale over the years. We are very grateful to be living in a county where the value of what we bring, the value of ESOL and supporting our communities is so well understood. And so I'm going to very briefly go over some selected highlights from our strategic priorities. I'm going to address one point about the total learner population in our county. And then we'll move on to the presentation, and my team will go over some of the data and outcomes. Our strategic priorities are unlikely to change over a great deal over the next few years because they really represent the core of our mission and our values. Helping coalition programs provide culturally responsive and learner-centered instruction, providing classes in underserved areas, being an advocate for English language, and teaching and ensuring that our practices and programs are supporting our equity goals. Thanks to the funding from the county, some of the things that we've been able to achieve are to increase instructor pay. We have also been able to continue to support childcare and transportation, which are two major barriers. And we've also been able to increase the number of grants under $7,500 in underserved areas. I'm going to quickly mention two other highlights. This past fiscal year, we launched a virtual program called The Circle, and it's an opportunity for volunteers, instructors, and program administrators to come online and collaborate, share ideas, and problem solve. This is an extension of the work that we do in person. We have convenings for the same group of educators, and to date we have over 140 users, and that's a number that we definitely want to continue to grow. And then finally, as far as highlights are concerned, I want to mention the celebration for English learners that we held in April. I actually attended that event with my wife. I hadn't started my official capacity in this role. It was an absolutely wonderful event. There were 165 people in attendance. There was food, there was music. It was just such a great community building event. It was also an opportunity to share resources from not just McHale resources, but resources from our community to the people in attendance. And this is an idea. This event was an idea that actually came from the learners themselves. So it's one of the things that we are consistently and constantly trying to do, which is to get the feedback from the learners themselves so that we can incorporate it into our programs and events. And then the last point that I like to make has to do with the total number of potential English learners in the county. So you mentioned McHale was here last time in 2023. That number was 134,000 then. I believe the following year, approximately, it rose to 139,000, and the current number is 143,000, and that's according to the American Community Survey. It's reasonable to wonder if that pattern is going to continue because, quite frankly, because of our national politics and the actions, I would say, against immigrants in our county. I think what's important to note here is that the total population of learners that we're actually reaching, and if you combine McHale, if you combine Montgomery College, as well as the Gilchrist Immigrant Resource Center, that percentage is really small. So even if the total population decreases, the demand and the need for English classes is still going to remain high, and higher than we can as a combined coalition that we can meet. So I just wanted to make that point, and that's why your funding is so essential, and that's why your support is so essential, particularly when other funding sources are increasingly becoming uncertain. So I'm going to pass it on next we're going to go to our presentation, and Rudy is going to talk about some of our programming and some of our data and outcomes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Rudy Jung. I'm the Director of Programs at McHale. And yes, I'm going to give a quick overview of our programs and a few highlights, and then we'll dive into some of the data from our grant partners. So since our last update 2 years ago, we've continued to improve our programs that help strengthen the adult ESOL programs in the county. And of course, the largest program we have is our grants program. This year, we're supporting 30 programs run by 24 organizations, and we were really pleased to see that there were 6 new organizations that applied for a grant this year, which kind of indicates an expanded interest in providing ESOL classes to adults. We offered professional development workshops and meetings for instructors and program managers, as well as our core online course, Foundations in Adult ESOL Instruction for new instructors. And we continually solicit feedback to ensure that our professional development addresses current needs. This year, we're really excited to offer a new 8-hour instructor training course, Building Conversation Skills Through Teaching and Facilitation. This course is in direct response to feedback from instructors and program managers, as well as an expressed need from learners. And the content of this course is based on research findings and observations of conversation classes and clubs across the county. Of course, the ultimate beneficiaries of our work are adult English learners. And as Gerard has already mentioned, we've been focusing in the last couple of years on establishing structures and processes to incorporate their perspectives into McHale programming. And one of these efforts is the establishment of a new advisory group to McHale, which is the Learner Leadership Group. We piloted this effort last year with 6 learners, and this year we have 12 learners, and they'll be meeting quarterly for business meetings as well as leadership training. So we're okay, now shifting to FY25 data from our grants program, let's look at some of our charts. This first one shows year-to-year enrollment and class totals. So you'll see it gives you the fiscal year, the total amount of grant funding from the county. And the first column that says total learners means total enrollment. So that there may be duplicates in there because one person can take more than one class over a year. So if they take 2 classes, they would be counted twice. The next column is total unique learners served, and then the total number of classes. And what we have observed for last year, FY25, is that despite the additional grant funding and the total number of classes increasing, numbers of learners decreased, both the number of individuals and the duplicated number. We have been looking into this more deeply to try to understand why this might be, and while we can't put our finger on the one reason, we have compared our year-end data with our mid-year data, and it's clear that the drop-off came in the second half of the year, January through June, and that we have anecdotal stories from our program partners that learners were increasingly afraid to come to class. And while there may be, of course, other factors, that probably is a factor in why major factor in why the decrease in numbers. Our next slide is looking at ESOL classes by type. And you'll see that in-person classes have increased steadily since the pandemic. And in FY25, for the first time, the number of in-person classes is greater than online classes. And we were particularly interested to see that the in-person classes at the beginner levels continued to grow, which is important because beginner learners learn better in person. But there's still a robust demand for online classes, given some of the barriers that exist in childcare, transportation, et cetera. Our next 2 slides are about outcomes. So we measure outcomes in 2 different ways. One is by learner progress. And each year, our grant partners report on the number of learners who say that they had progress in certain areas. And so there are a number of objectives under each of these goal areas. And so they, in general, are a little bit down from last year, but there is really a wide variation from year to year on this because there's different learners pick different topics, objectives every year. And we can go into more of that about that if there are questions later. The next slide shows the other way we measure outcomes, which is by improvement in the programs. So we have a continuous improvement model so that every year grant partners are asked to choose 1 to 3 areas in which they will improve their program. So these are along TESOL standard areas. So along the left side there you see learner retention, program structure, instruction, et cetera. There are 9 areas that have been identified as standards. And so each program, depending on what kind of grant they have, picks a number of these to improve upon. And they do a self-assessment at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. And this chart is showing the amount of improvement that they have seen by the end of the year. So you can, the scale is 0 to 3. So we can see, for instance, for learner retention, which is always a very popular topic that people, or area that people choose to improve upon, you can see that 11 cases of improving by 1 point and 2 cases in which they improved by 2 points. So with that, I think I'll turn it over to my colleagues to talk a little bit more about our programs. Each year we analyze the data and we produce charts and maps that really help us understand where our successes are, but where our gaps are as well. So my colleague Grace is going to talk about how we address these gaps that we see, and then my colleague Danny will be talking a little bit more about the maps. Grace?
Thank you so much, Rudy. My name is Grace Karambiri, and I am the program manager at McHale. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about addressing the gaps. Our grant priorities align with the underserved communities that we aim to reach through small access grants and community learning groups. This year, we continued our focus on making English classes more accessible to residents who face the most barriers. So our small access grants are awarded to organizations that are emerging, and we had 3 new small access grants this year. These grants provide not only funding, but also connections to experienced mentors and help groups build strong and sustainable programs. We also saw that there were more applicants this year because of the expanded outreach that we did at the beginning of the grant season. We also have our community learning groups, which we expanded, and a reminder that these are short 9-week English classes that are offered in partnership with schools, faith communities, and local businesses. These community learning groups, or CLGs, give learners a starting point, build confidence, and help connect them to longer-term classes. They also expand the pool of instructors that we have by training people, because we train people from the community that are being served. Last year, we partnered with an elementary school and with a newly arrived Haitian community. 3 instructors from that community who we trained went on to teach those classes themselves. This year, we trained 3 additional instructors and completed an independent evaluation of the program. We will use those findings from the evaluation to strengthen and expand the CLGs moving forward. And looking ahead, we have a new CLG starting next week, and we're in conversation with 6 more organizations to see if we can do a CLG in the future. We know that these programs require careful coordination, from training instructors to addressing transportation and childcare needs. To support their success, we are setting clear expectations with partners and improving our intake process to identify barriers early. And I'm going to pass it on to Danny, who's going to talk a little bit more about data.
Hi, I'm Danny Keeley. I'm Manager of Data Analysis and Technology. And I want to talk about the maps that we have there. So it's putting together what Rudy and Grace said. So we have on those maps the class sites for the grants and the CLGs, the community learning groups. And you can see the progress that we made through the years from 23 to 25. So we have this first map there, 23. If you can go to the next slide, you see that from 34 we went to 45. And then you can see also that the places we're going to the areas that we know it's more in need of English classes, that is East County and Up County. And if you go to 25, you see that not only the classes increased, but also they increased on those areas. So the same number of classes and same places, you can see in the next map. So if you can go to the next slide, you see the map that we presented here 2 years ago is the equity focus areas. So are the areas that Montgomery Planning did in 2018, and then we are updating every year now with the census data and the CHAS data, it's the housing data. So we have this information there to know where the need is. So it will get people of color, housing, and English as the main 3 index that we control or acquire to see where the need is. And then you can see the same classes from 24, and the next slide is 25, just to show where the classes are meeting the need for these areas. This is just focusing on the top of the map, Up County, Bethesda, and Mid County. And the next 2 ones will be the East County. So if you can go to the next one, will be 24 for East County. And then you can see 25 that we are really going to the darker areas. That is where the need is most prevailing. And then the last slide here, we have the same idea, but now not talking about classes, but we are talking about the zip code where the learners are. So it's where when they report their zip code area, the zip code where they live, we map these through the same areas, the 5 areas that we showed at the first map, and then just to see how they are increasing through the years. Up County, Silver Spring, and Eastern Montgomery are increasing in number of learners.
Awesome. Is that the last slide?
Yes, it is. We're happy to take questions.
Thank you so much. And one of the reasons that we obviously always have you here during budget time and we get an update then, but you and Montgomery College. I don't have any favorite children. I always tell my children I love them all equally, but you're always so good at what you're doing, and we know how important the mission is, that we know we don't have to have you here every 6 months. So that being said, it does give us a lot to talk about too, because a lot's happened in the last 2 years. So I'll start off just with a couple of questions, and then I'll turn to my colleagues who I'm sure have questions as well. First, welcome again, Mr. Etienne, and we're just happy that you're here. You joining a great tradition. Last time we talked about instructor recruitment, so this kind of ties into the numbers dipping, but also just something we had talked about before, because it looks like the numbers dipped in 24 a little bit too, for the last 2 years they've dipped a little bit, and so I know you said understandably why this year's numbers could have some dipping, but one of the things we talked about was you couldn't identify enough instructors. I know that's always a challenge. I just want to know, what concrete steps have you taken? How has that gone? What else do you think we need to be doing? How can we help with that? So hopefully that's clear.
So definitely increasing instructor recruitment and retention is going to be one of our areas of focus for our next strategic plan. I know in speaking with Rudy, this is something that McHale has been discussing for a while, but I would probably venture to say that this is something that requires quite a bit of I would say preparation and investment in time. So one of the things that definitely needs to happen is we need to find ways to connect and create a pipeline of instructors that are willing to instruct for the programs that we have. It's It's something that we've been working on. We have to develop a campaign, definitely a messaging campaign, to talk about the benefits of becoming an instructor. From the instructor survey that we took back in February or in March, one of the things that instructors themselves identified was, actually it was the top thing, was to communicate the benefits of becoming an instructor. So that's something we definitely want to develop as well. But again, I would say that staff capacity and resources are part of the equation.
Sure, if you want to comment on that as well.
Yes, I can add that one of the great things about the community learning groups is that we are training instructors, and we're diversifying the pool of instructors that are available, really also focusing on instructors that have language learning as part of their background. And so through the shorter training that we do through the CLGs, we've also had some of these instructors be interested in continuing. So we have instructors that are doing TESOL programs or other programs within McHale, like our foundations course. So we are also trying to feed instructors into the pipeline, and we also make sure that we allow the grant partners and anyone who's looking for instructors to post on our website so that we can connect the two.
I appreciate that, and I think the flip side of the coin of this tough moment we're in, particularly for the immigrant community, is that there's a lot of people who want to help the immigrant community, and there's unfortunately a lot of people who are out of work, and there's a lot of things, many factors coming together, the confluence of many factors, and so I agree you have to spend some time with it, but I think, what is your timeline for the strategic plan, and then this prong in particular? What do you?
So we're going to be working with an organization to help us develop our next strategic plan. The kickoff for that is October 23rd.
Okay.
And so I would say by July, August, we will have our strategic plan for the next 3 years.
So next summer.
Yes.
Yeah, got it. Yes.
We also have some of the groundwork done this last year with the instructor survey that Gerard mentioned, but we've also done our biennial program administrator survey now, so we have a lot of information from both perspectives on why instructors stay or go, and including information about compensation and all of that. So I think we have a good basis on which to create an action plan this coming year.
That's great. I'll just ask one more, and then I'll turn to Councilmember Alvarez and Mink. Our last discussion, we also talked about coordination, and you just kind of led me into this with your response. Between McHale, between Montgomery College, between MCPS, right, who all have a footprint here, and I know you're that's an ongoing process. But has any progress been made? Are there any concrete mechanisms in place that can help force that collaboration a little more tightly, or what are you thinking? I'm assuming that will obviously be part of your strategic plan process as well. But has anything happened over the last couple years on that front?
Sure. I'll mention here the class list that we developed, I think, since we were here 2 years ago. We now have in addition to our print and online program directory, which is general information about the programs that exist in the county, we now have a class list that is online that includes all registration dates for current classes, which is updated every 3 times a year. And this list is something that's distributed among our partners. And I know that I personally actually coordinate with Montgomery College ESOL program manager to, if they are seeing that they have too many learners, they'll go directly to our class list. And actually, we have talked a number of times about which providers might be offering classes in the areas in which they have to turn away learners. So there's very specific coordination like that, in addition to the broader kind of class list that we provide.
Are there any barriers in your mind to that? I mean, because obviously what we all want, you started off with the 143,000 based on the community service, which is probably low. And not probably, I would say it is low. And then obviously we're looking at a situation where we've kind of ticked down over the last couple of years. Our goal is to, through coordination, through funding, of course, through partnership, to meet as much of the need as possible. Are there any particular challenges you see in that arena? Or you think what you're doing is, you feel like you're on a good path on the coordination side? You can say no. I mean, I just like to know, this is not a gotcha. This is just, we know that there can be coordination challenges between people in silos that are trying to do the great work together. And I'm just trying to channel Councilmember Alvarez, who's always talking about breaking down silos.
Well, one of the things we know is that in our conversations with learners through focus groups and surveys is sometimes the barrier is just that they don't know about opportunities. So that's one of the reasons why we had a learner celebration, to not only celebrate the efforts of current learners, but also to help them understand who McHale is and what resources we have. And hopefully they will take that information to their families and friends.
And share it.
And so that's one aspect that we've been pursuing.
If you were fully full, I know that's a double. That's probably not correct English, but not for this topic. I don't teach them that. But if you were full, what would be the max capacity right now, based on the programs that you're working with? Is that a knowable number? Like if the issue was not people being enrolled, what would be the limit?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So
what would be the limit in terms of...
Based on the programs we have in place, what's the capacity? Does that make sense?
We probably do. We have that number through the targets that they set, our programs set at the beginning of each grant year.
I just think it'd be a good knowable, it'd be, you could base a goal off of it.
Yes.
I know in the past, you've come before us and say, we want to grow X,
right.
every year.
We do know that a number of our, especially larger providers, are at capacity.
That's what I remember from.
In terms of, classroom space, but also, instructors. It's kind of a chicken and the egg kind of situation. But also with the rising cost of, they want to be able to keep up with cost of living for their instructors also, which we made some progress on.
Right. With pay, yeah.
But Yeah.
Well, just maybe when you come back for budget, as you talk, that would be something I'd be curious, or you can email us. I'd be curious to know, because we want to help you promote too, obviously. Turn first to Councilmember Ramanos.
Thank you, Vice President Juando. And it's good to see everybody. Thank you all so much for this work. So, I try to make it my business to go to at least one of your graduations through one of your partner organizations every year, because I just get so much energy from it, as I'm sure you all do as well. And a lot of continued progress being made. And it just, once again, makes me so proud that we have something like this here that's tangible, that is fighting back against this insanity that we're seeing at the national level, and providing a reprieve and sense of community, both for the participants, but also the volunteers and the instructors that are in this space as well, which is critical. And I was happy to see, and it's not a surprise that, from FY21 to FY25, many more of the participants are coming in person, which is great, which is a natural evolution from COVID to where we are now. But I would encourage you, to the degree to which it's possible, to do even more in-person instruction, because that sense of community is such a critical component of the program. And I'm always struck by, in those graduations, the friendships that are established among the classmates that go beyond the classroom. And it's that sense of community that I think is particularly important. And the other thing that I've observed over the years, and I've volunteered for some of these programs over the years, is sometimes the instructors end up being like navigators for the members of their class, and connecting them to different programs and services or problem-solving issues in their lives. So it's we just need to do more of this, and particularly in person, which is really exciting. So I did have a couple of questions on the slide with the learner progress by goal, which is fabulous. I'm just curious as to how you're measuring the improved or sustained health and awareness of health access, because we know mental health, in particular behavioral health, continues to be a huge issue, particularly right now. So are we tracking, when we say health, are we tracking behavioral health, or is that something we can do moving forward in partnership with HHS or maybe some of our other county agencies?
I think Danny can pull up the exact objective, but I believe it's not mental health at the moment, it's medical.
Okay.
So yeah, we have 5 objectives that they can take from. It's communicate basic health information in English. So it's how they communicate. It's more about like how they use the English for the health.
Gotcha.
And then make a medical appointment, read medicine label, communicate using English during an emergency, and identify common medications and their uses. So these are the 5 objectives that they can choose from that will comprise the goal too.
That's wonderful. I do think, again, it's an intangible. I'm not sure it's something that can be collected through quantitative or qualitative analysis, but I know that it's improving behavioral health, participating in these programs. So I think if we could quantify in that in some way, because there are resources available, grants available in the behavioral health space that have really opened up in the last 3 years since COVID, could be an interesting thing to track.
Every year we actually do a couple of networking meetings for both instructors and program managers, and I believe one of the topics that we covered this year was mental health, because it was requested that there were a lot more programs that were saying that learners wanted to have resources related to those. So Grace, maybe you can talk about that.
The network meeting on mental health was one of our most well-attended network meetings. We put together a list of different organizations in the county, private and more public-facing, that could help with culturally responsive mental health resources. And so these network meetings bring together all of our partners and people just generally within the coalition who offer English classes so that we can connect them to people that they can refer their learners to. And it also so it's program administrators, but also instructors that come to these network meetings so that they can get the information directly.
That's fabulous. That warms my heart. We need more of that. That's fabulous. So it's back to school night time of year. I've got 2 more to go. I don't know how many more you guys have. And so it's a tremendous opportunity to connect with parents. And so as we discuss partnership opportunities, I know it's overwhelming. The school system is amazing, but it's so large. But that is a touch point. And I've shared this story with my colleagues last year that I attended my son's back to school night at his middle school, and there were 2 parents that came that spoke almost no English, but knew that this was an important meeting that they needed to go to. And there were no translation services available for them. And there were some information translated into Spanish, but not enough of it. And MCPS, understandably, just does not have the resources to be able to provide those translation services at all schools. And my son's school doesn't have as high an ESL population as others in the system. And so they have to send the resources where they're needed most. But, I was there. I took it upon myself to translate on behalf of those parents. But that could be a touch point where we send volunteers or we provide information available to be able to make those formal connections. Because the MCC PTAs are wonderful, but they don't often represent the families who are your clients. And so, but many of those families do end up coming to back to school night. So don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Thank you so much. I was going to say that we have been to 2 or 3 back to school nights this school year, and we have also been sending out our program directories to the schools and the libraries to make sure that the program administrators have access to referring their learners' parents to English classes. We also send out the class list, but also our community learning groups we have done quite a few community learning groups in elementary schools and high schools to try to target the parents that are in these equity focus areas that don't have access to the larger network of English classes for various reasons. And some of our most successful CLGs have been at schools.
Fabulous. And last point, we've talked about this before also, and I know you're being intentional about trying to target populations where we can. So I'll give you an example. So earlier this week, last week, I did a joint proclamation with the county executive for Direct Service Providers Appreciation Week, month. And these are frontline workers that are working with families with people with disabilities. And when you look into that room and the service providers that are out there, I mean, it is all international. It's beautiful. English is not the first language of a number of these providers, and I know they're interested specifically in attaining more English classes, which will help them be better service providers and help their families and help them be advocates. So are we being intentional about identifying other career options or opportunities where we've got folks that are working with families that would benefit from the incredible services that you all provide? Are we intentionally trying to identify them and connect those dots?
So we are, and there are many opportunities for us to be in the community, and that is definitely one area that we could explore. We have, along with what my colleagues have mentioned, are looking to expand the services that we provide. So that is definitely an area that we would be able to look into.
That's great. And HHS is just a wonderful partner in that regard and connect you to the right folks. Well, thank you all. Keep up the great work. Appreciate it.
It's not it's sticking. All right. Thank you so much. Before I forget, and I'm turning to Councilmember Mink, student instructors, do you have them? Is that allowed? I don't know what the qualifications are, but I'm thinking of, I'm always thinking of alternative certification, like whether it's teachers. We never have enough instructors for anything. And I would think in this area, there could be, at the various levels, there could be utility for first generation, second generation kids, students, either high school or college. I was just in a room of like 40 ACES ambassadors, all of whom, I think 90% of whom spoke another language outside of English. Just a question of, do programs utilize that? And that might be a growth strategy.
So yes, there are programs that have actually models that are with high school for SSL hours to teach, but also there are also programs within the coalition and that we fund that take learners and hire them for the various tasks within their organization. So let's say if a learner has gotten to a certain level of English, they will teach their own course or be a teacher's assistant. So there are many options in that way. And the CLG training program looks for maybe non-traditional, non-traditionally trained individuals who are just interested in getting into the ESOL field, as well as with the conversation class training that we're going to be having. Those are kind of opening the doors to more people who may not have considered ESOL instruction as a viable career for them.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like could be some more growth there potentially. Summer Rise, I'll just say, are you familiar with that program? I'm sure some of your providers are signed up. If they're not, we never have enough spots for students. And there's a lot of bilingual students that I'm sure would actually select this, and the money's already there. Like it's, to pay them to do that during the summer. So just another tidbit. Councilmember Mink.
First, it's been really exciting to see the growth in East County, and I know that we've talked about over the years the concerted and data-based and community-focused efforts to do that, and we can see it happening. So that's really exciting, and I appreciate that. And I've also have now on several occasions just kind of been out with the community and found out, oh, actually, I'm taking classes now or at ISWA. Or at Greencastle, and so the stories are. It's happening enough that I'm running into people who are benefiting from it in East County. So the work showing up is really very, very cool. The partnership with MCPS and the work there, I just wanted to dig a little bit deeper into that. So for example, the classes at Greencastle. Can you talk a little bit about like how these moments develop and end up with it actually happening? Like, what does that look like so that we can think about how there might be more of it?
Sure, I'll start off on this one. So one of our grant partners, Jessa, actually has a program that is mainly with schools for school sites. And I can't quite remember the number of sites they're working with now, but it's like 12 to 14, something like that. Both in person, increasingly in person, but I know they have some online as well. And the exciting thing about that program is that in recent years, MCPS community schools have actually been supporting additional classes. So their program has grown not just McHale funding, but also through MCPS funding. In terms of some of the CLG work that we've done in East County, that's been pretty intentional and working to reach out to the community liaisons at those schools. So I don't know, Grace, you can maybe say more about that.
For the Greencastle Elementary has been one of our best partners for community learning groups, just because they have parents as well as administration that was really invested in the community learning group, and so we've done two rounds of CLGs with them, and they have the students there have been referred to classes that are outside of the 9-week program because it's not a temporary program. So one of the big focuses for the community learning groups is that after we complete them, or after learners complete them, we refer them out to the larger network. And so that's probably where you have heard of some of the parents that were taking classes at Greencastle.
That's beautiful. Yeah, would love to keep thinking with you all about how we can help to grow that effort, because it's so symbiotic in so many ways. As the students, especially who are coming to you through MCPS or through JESSA or the other MCPS partnerships, are there ways that are already happening to to communicate with like teachers and with on kind of what's going on inside MCPS that are beneficial there?
I think an increasing number of schools know about McHale and know about the community learning groups, because the number of inquiries we're getting is just growing very quickly.
And then on the instructor recruitment side, I know that the survey analysis is still ongoing, but from what you have seen so far, or maybe anecdotally, can you just tell us a little bit about what seemed to be emerging as maybe the main barriers and or the main the main elements that have attracted the instructors who you have gotten, especially folks who have gone through your classes?
I don't have that right at my fingertips, but I do know when we talk about instructors, we also have to keep in mind that there are there are programs that pay their instructors, and there are programs that have volunteer instructors, and the motivations are a little bit different for different people. And so, but we have seen that one of the biggest incentives for people to be interested is giving back to the community. That seemed very clear from our latest instructor survey. Maybe Gerard, do you remember other?
Yeah, one really interesting aspect from the survey was the demographics of the instructors, the respondents, and there's quite a large number of volunteers, and the age distribution was actually quite interesting. If I remember correctly, over 60% of instructors are 50 years and older. It's actually, it's more 80-something percent, and some 68%, I believe, are 60 years old and older. So there's clearly an indication that people are people who are retired probably, and who have the time and who want to give back to the community are making a large portion of the instructor population. So it's informative. I think we also have to think about, again, how to attract instructors from different age groups as well. And instructor pay is also definitely one of the factors that affects people's decisions.
Yeah, so for the pool of instructors who are, it sounds like retiree age potentially, or the older folks who are looking to get back, is that are they mostly folks who are volunteering, or are those do you know offhand, or are those folks who are also receiving compensation?
So I'm not sure I know exactly what the percentage is, but there's definitely a large percent of volunteers. Yeah. And one of the questions, one of the aspects from the survey that was also interesting is that there was also relatively, it's probably about a third of the respondents said they did not expect to receive any pay. So we definitely need to do more digging into that data, but those are some of the early conclusions that we can come to.
And I know I'm asking you questions about data that you did not present today, so I appreciate it. Just curious, especially as I have conversations with a lot of community members who, have taken classes or are learning English or have recently learned English and are also looking for ways to make some compensation, whether they're looking to, potentially shift into another career or to just be making some compensation as they pursue like local certifications and that sort of thing. So just kind of trying to wrap my mind around, where to go with those conversations. But I will, I look forward to learning more and hearing more about that. So from FY24 to 25, there's an increase, and then we talked about increase in the number of classes, but decrease in learners, and there's factors that are out of our control, unfortunately, that impact that. And but at the same time, the proportion of in-person learners has increased. So how do we make sense of that? What are your thoughts on how that happens? And we have more folks, right, who are afraid to come out for very understandable and legitimate reasons. But at the same time, of those who are coming out, the proportion who are coming in person has increased. And I'm just wondering, trying to wrap my mind around like why that would be, and what do you do with that?
So are you referring to that graph that shows the in-person versus online?
Yeah, as well as, so there's the chart that shows the, the number of learners year over year, the number of classes and the number of learners, and then there's the graph that shows the online, the line graph.
So maybe my colleagues can help me on this one, but I think it might be a question of timing of when that survey was taken. Since then, I would say, when was that survey? Yes, that was in June. Well, I think things have changed. What I'm trying to say is I think things have changed drastically from even earlier this year to where we are today. I think what has been happening is that as we were coming out of the pandemic, more and more people were interested in in-person classes. Whether or not that's going to continue is questionable. But as Councilmember Albanaz mentioned, I think having in-person classes is such an important aspect of connection and community building. As you said, I've attended many, I shouldn't say many, but I've spoken at some graduations. I've witnessed exactly what you were talking about in terms of the connections that people make in those classes and how life-changing they are, and you miss so much from online classes versus in-person classes. So I think that is really important to promote, but we also have to keep in mind, obviously, what is going on and the fear that is in our community. And it's very understandable that learners are reluctant to come to class. I do think there's an opportunity to promote the importance of in-person classes and to also kind of send a signal that it's that we don't want to be hiding as a community. We want to continue the work that we're doing, but to also provide the opportunities for those who don't necessarily feel comfortable coming to classes to have online classes. And that's something that we can help with just in terms of helping some of the programs with digital learning and technical assistance to increase the number of online courses that they can provide.
Yeah, I appreciate all of that. I mean, it's a difficult question, and it's reminiscent of conversations that are starting from MCPS families as well. We're hearing from people who are saying, I want my kids to be able to attend virtually because of fears of ICE. And, we would rather that they be in person because there's tremendous benefits of being in person. And at the same time, if they're not going to come in person, then what do you do? And so it's a difficult question, and I think messaging is really important to your point, and also as part of the messaging, but also as a matter of practicality, messaging about the safety precautions protocols that are in place in a tangible way, right? Not just saying it's safe, but making sure that learners know, families know, and understand that this is being held in a facility that is secure, that only attendees are going to be allowed, past the door, things like that. The transparency around the protocols that are in place are just as important as the protocols themselves. And so I think it's a difficult situation that we're in, but because we're in Montgomery County and we're in a place that does support having safety protocols in place, that does allow us for some leeway to help make those things happen. And obviously there are real dangers, and so we can't tell people to buck up without having being able to do everything that we can to assure I know that I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but just kind of from the messaging standpoint as well. And if there are things that we need to know or that we need to do to make sure that you have facilities that are secure, that you are able to implement those types of protocols where there can be a judicial warrant requirement, where there can be locked doors to separate the outdoor space, the public space from private space, those types of nuances, so that you're able to make those assurances to families. I think those are all things that we would all be supportive of working together to figure out, not just for these classes, but for so many of the different services that we are providing to communities that are being particularly impacted by what's happening.
Thank you.
Can I just add, so for the in-person classes, we see there are classes. So they took place even because they planned for those classes. So probably the numbers, we are still studying that part, but the numbers of learners and enrollment went down, but the classes still happened for that fiscal year. So that's why they kept going up, even though, because the classes were there. And then we'll have more on these on our story map that is coming by the end of October. So you can see the breakdown by learners as well there.
Awesome. Thank you. I love how you all collect and present data, so I appreciate that.
Thank you, Councilmember Mink. Thank you all for being here. We're going to stick around if you can. I know the first part of Montgomery College's conversation is going to be related to your work, but we're really excited. And please keep us posted on events, graduations, strategic planning, data, all the stuff. But we really appreciate what you're doing, and glad that you're at the helm. So thank you to you and your team.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. So I think we can bring up Montgomery College now. Hey, hello. I see a lot of purple in the audience, so they're here. Number 1 in Maryland and in our hearts, Montgomery College. Number 8 nationally, I've seen. Is that right? Is that up or
a lot of rankings?
A lot of rankings.
Yeah,
all over
a lot of
the place,
rankings.
but we're
A lot of
in
things to
the
be
top
proud of.
1%.
Absolutely, Vice
Good to
President.
see you, Dr. Williams. Thank you for being here. I'll turn it to you, and you can turn to your team.
Absolutely. Thank you, Council Vice President Joando. Thank you, Council Members Albernaz and Mink, for your continued support of and engagement with Montgomery College. We are, as always, excited to be here with you, and again, thankful for your support. We're going to dive into some items, and we appreciate the opportunity to share some points of pride. But before we do, I'm going to set the stage and just share something I've shared before, but I think bears repeating, and just a reassurance is that Montgomery College is and continues to be the community's college. We continue to be steadfast, committed to our mission to serve our students and all of our residents in the county, anyone who can avail themselves of the wonderful educational opportunity here at Montgomery College and in our awesome county. And when we think about that, we think about some of our aspirations around access and ensuring that individuals have access to education. And just a few short years ago, in academic year 2022, Montgomery College was serving 39,757 students. And this past year, council members in academic year 25, Montgomery College served 46,341 students. It's an increase of more than 16% in a few short years. One of our other aspirations is around completion, and degree and certificate conferral is growing as well. When we think about an academic year 24, conferring 2,762 degrees and certificates, and then just this past year, academic year 25, awarding more than 3,024 degrees and certificates, right? And that's inclusive of the more than 300 dually enrolled students who graduated from Montgomery College a few weeks prior to graduating from their respective high schools. So we think about that, and also our last aspiration before I turn it over to Dr. Campbell around post-completion success. When we think about the fact that Montgomery College is producing the cybersecurity analysts, the life sciences professionals, the engineers, the automotive techs, the nurses that our county needs. We think about and we talk about benchmarks and metrics that our nursing pass rate is more than 90%. right, which is creating an accelerated pathway for graduates to actually become nurses in our wonderful county. We think about the fact that all in, the economic impact that Montgomery College has on this county is $1.4 billion. Right? We think about that when we think about post-completion success, and we think about impact. So as I share all of that with the background of being here to share about ESL and with respect to our ESL learners and Montgomery College being the largest provider of ESL opportunities in the county. We know that ESL, as we just heard and as we are aware, opens doors to greater opportunity and puts residents on a path to a family-sustaining wage. And we think about that, and Dr. Campbell's going to share many details. She is our Vice President for Liberal Arts and Education, and take you through a thorough presentation. I do want to just highlight one additional thing, and this is something that we definitely want you to be aware of. Our adult ESOL and Basic Skills for College and Careers program, it's essentially a tuition-free program. It's highly dependent on WIOA funds. Right, so we are actively monitoring that situation. We are actively engaging our legislators at the federal level, but wanted to share that as we set the stage and you hear about all the wonderful opportunities that Montgomery College provides. There are implications for what is occurring at the federal level right now. We are aggressively advocating, but wanted you, Vice President and council members, to be aware of that. And with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Campbell.
And Dr. Campbell, welcome. Thank you, Dr. Williams. If you could just address that issue. My understanding is the FY26 funding is okay, but we obviously would be concerned about years going forward if there were changes to WIOA. And you'll get into maybe how dependent you are upon it. And will that come up? Okay, great. Awesome.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Williams. Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Campbell. I'm Vice President of Liberal Arts and Education, and I'm joined by my colleague, Donna Canerney, who's Dean of Community Education and Alternative Pathways. And we're pleased to join you today to share information about the adult English language courses that we offer at Montgomery College. We know that English as a second language courses are essential in this community. They support our international students, our immigrants, and our refugees. They strengthen workforce readiness, and they expand access to education. And that's why at MC we are proud to be the largest ESL provider in Montgomery County. So today what we'll do is share a brief update about our programs. We will cover enrollment, course design, learner outcomes, new initiatives, and we will focus a bit on how our ESL work connects with county services as well as with workforce needs. Next slide, please. Okay. At Montgomery College, we have three main ESL programs. First, as Dr. Williams mentioned, is our Adult ESOL and Basic Skills for College and Careers Unit, or AEBSCC. This is funded by federal and state grants. It receives funding from the county, and it serves learners from beginning to advanced levels. This focuses on life skills, workforce readiness, as well as civic engagement. Our second program is the non-credit ESL program. This is supported by student tuition and fees as well as state funding. And the non-credit ESL program prepares students to transition to credit coursework as well as offers a popular general communication track. And our third program is the English Language for Academic Purposes program, or ELAP. This is supported through tuition fees as well as state and county funding, and ELAP is designed for advanced language learners. It builds on academic communication, critical thinking, and language skills that are critical for success in U.S. college classrooms. So together, these three programs offer flexible and accessible pathways for our students to meet their unique needs, their timelines, and their goals. We know that our students have different on-ramps. We know that they have different off-ramps. And these programs can be seen as a progression or also as unique programs tailored to where students are and where they want to go. They help students build their language skills. They help them prepare for work and further education. And then they help them also fully participate in civic life. Next slide. What you'll see on the next few slides is enrollment in these programs, and they have been strong recently across the three programs. In adult ESOL and basic skills for college and careers, we've seen growth from around 7,700 enrollments in fiscal year 21 to over 10,000 in fiscal year 25. That latter number, 10,000, reflects over 5,000 individual students, about 60% of whom are female. Next slide. The same post-pandemic growth is evident in our non-credit ESL program, which increased from 1,100 enrollments in fiscal year 21 to over 1,500 enrollments in fiscal year 25. That number reflects 800 individual students. And in both programs, of course, we serve a wide range of students, a wide range of learners, but the majority of our learners in these groups are working age adults between 25 and 49 in that particular age group. In English language for academic purposes, we have seen similar growth over the past academic years. In the last academic year, we supported over 1,300 student enrollments, and as you can see, that is an increase over the previous 2 years. So one of the factors, of course, that supports robust enrollment is scheduling, and modality plays a large part in this. On the next slide, you will see how at MC we're committed to meeting the needs of a diverse set of adult learners. And we recognize that there's not a one-size-fits-all approach for this. Our classes, as a result, are offered in a variety of ways. In person, at college sites, in community schools, at partner locations. They are fully online through asynchronous distance learning courses and synchronous remote formats. And they're in hybrid formats that combine both formats for our learners.
I'm sorry, just on this slide, the purple is in person and the gray is?
It is, excuse me. The purple is the in-person.
Got it.
And so what you see on where it says adult ESL, for example, is that in our adult ESL program, about 80% of our offerings are in person. And that, of course, we have, like our colleagues at McHale, we have seen that growth of in-person offerings post-pandemic. Although because of our students' needs, because some of our students prefer the flexibility of remote classes, we do maintain about 20% of those classes through online formats as well. In our refugee program, for example, however, you're seeing almost the inverse, that 80% of those classes are offered online, and that meets the unique transportation and childcare needs of that population, whereas 20% of the classes in the refugee program are offered in person. I would add that in our non-credit ESL classes in particular, certain specialized classes with language for specific purposes, like ESL for healthcare jobs, are ones that we deliberately schedule online so that we can reach learners across a wider geographic area and expand that reach and that opportunity. Our courses are also offered at different times of day, so early morning, evenings, weekends, just so students can fit that type of learning into their lives. And in English language for academic purposes, on the next slide, you see that we similarly balance our formats carefully. Again, you see the purple are our in-person classes. That represents slightly more than half of our ELAP courses, about 53%. Slightly less than half, about 44%, are offered online, either asynchronously or synchronously, with a small number of hybrid courses. Nearly a third of these courses are scheduled in evenings and weekends, again, to maximize student access. Thank you. Next slide. We know, however, that access doesn't automatically equal success. And so one of the things that we do through course design and planning is, as we help students progress towards their academic and career goals, we are very attentive to our student success metrics to ensure that we're serving students in the most effective manner possible. What you're seeing on the screen is the educational functioning level within our AEB SCC unit. Our largest program there is the Adult ESOL and Literacy Grant Program. Student success in this program, it's a standards-based program, and so success and progress is measured through standardized assessments, and they help us track students from one language level to the next. So what you'll see on the screen in that first graph is strong outcomes, strong recovery since the pandemic. MC continues to outperform the state average. In fiscal year 24, for example, which is our most recent data available from the state, nearly 75% of our students advanced a level during the fiscal year in which they enrolled, compared to a 66% advancement rate statewide. In fiscal year 25, that number rose even higher, with 78% of our students advancing to the next level. We see similar trends on the next graph in our non-credit ESL program. Of our students who exit out of the top 2 levels of non-credit ESL, in the pre-academic track, many of them will move into the next level of English, and that's our ELAP program, our English Language for Academic Purposes. In 2024, you can see that 74% of our students who completed ESL Level 4 and who attempted to enter the ELAP program were successful in doing so. Those who were in ESL Level 5, which is our top level, 96.5% transitioned successfully to the ELAP program. So we're pleased to see, especially in this post-pandemic recovery, strong student learning, strong success rates, and strong progression to the next level. On the next slide, perfect, you see our...
Councilmember Mink leaned over and said, I'm going to tell you what you said, hopefully it's okay. That you should, when those numbers are that good compared to the state, you should include it in the slides.
I certainly will.
So that you can just see, how efficient we are.
Absolutely, thank you. So you will see, and I can certainly put this on the slide, strong success in our English Language for Academic Purposes as well. We have different tracks within this program, different course tracks. For example, a reading focus, a writing focus, a speaking focus, and an integrated capstone course. And in all of these course sequences, we see success rates exceeding 80%, with certain tracks, for example, reading and speaking, student success rates exceeding 90%. So student outcomes across these areas for us are really a reflection not only of student motivation and persistence, which in this population is so important in terms of persistence and retention, but also the dedication of the faculty and staff that we have supporting these students and trying to get them to the next level and to the workforce. We wanted to close finally with just some new initiatives that we have at the college coming out of these programs, because we know that language learning is about a lot more than just vocabulary and grammar. It's about literacy development and real-world applications and global competence. We want our learners to not only have the linguistic skills, but to have the cultural skills, not only to survive in the workforce, but really to thrive in a global community and to thrive in the workplace setting. As a result of this, much of our work focuses on creating connections, linking students not only to the academic supports that we offer at the college, but connecting their learning with community partnerships and workforce opportunities. Faculty and staff collaborate closely really from day one to place students in programs that best fit their goals, and partnerships with our International Student Office and community engagement centers expand our outreach through schools, through libraries, and through immigrant communities. Students also benefit from a full range of services, from tutoring at the college to digital learning assistance to health and wellness resources that address food, clothing, and health needs. And building on this foundation, our faculty are bringing innovations into the classroom, like e-portfolios, like learning communities, like digital storytelling, that place learning in real-world experiences and real-world contexts. We're also leaning into new initiatives that link workforce opportunity through hospital-based English courses, through Johns Hopkins at Suburban and Sibley, through a biotech boot camp pilot, and through embedded language support in workforce training programs. Across all of our programming, we emphasize digital literacy, so we're preparing students for success regardless of where they go, be it college, be it career, be it community life, because we know that we best serve the student when we serve the whole student. And our emergent multilingual learners are in need of not only that language instruction and the academic support, but they need us to meet their needs in a holistic way. So at MC, our language programs really continue to demonstrate growth. They demonstrate adaptability and they demonstrate impact. We know that our strength is our faculty, it's our staff, and it's our students. And through strong enrollment, meaningful outcomes, and ongoing work to align our programs with high-impact educational practices and high-demand industries, we continue to try to serve our emergent multilingual learners so that they can realize these academic and career goals.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Campbell. And I just wanted to share, as one of our deans, Dr. Donna Kinnearney, who has a very intimate knowledge about all of these initiatives, is here with us as well, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you so much, and thank you for. When I saw the number of slides, I was a little worried, but you pushed through, and it was very informative, and I felt like I got it too. So thank you. You must be in education or something. I don't know. I just have two quick questions. I'll turn to colleagues. I just following up on the WIOA question. There was, my former employer, the U.S. Department of Education, put out a rule that I disagree with earlier this summer. Ending federal funding for adult and technical education programs for what they non-qualified immigrants or undocumented members of our community. How is that going to impact the WIOA Title II funds? And is it, I'm sure it is, but just what impact are you seeing? Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, we are monitoring that situation very carefully and waiting for guidance from the state. Maryland has participated in I believe it was 14 states in a lawsuit, and so there was an injunction, and so that's still going on at this point. We've gotten no additional guidance on what we would need to do, but we do understand that that is certainly one of the things that they are looking at.
So we're just doing what we normally do.
We are doing what we normally do. We are standing strong, yes.
Yeah, and obviously party to the lawsuit, which we're happy to be a party of, because we don't agree with that. Do you have a sense of the scale and scope of what that would do?
We don't know because we've never had to ask that question. We have always followed the law explicitly since day one, but we've never been required to ask those questions, so we really don't know.
We educate whoever shows up.
We are here for everybody.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Keep us posted on that, of course. And, we're happy for the injunction, but worried about that. The non-credit programs and the ELAP program, they're funded through tuition and fees. And so it seems like the cost has not become a barrier at this point. And are we, I know we do a good job not raising tuition 3 of the 4 last years or something. I think I have the talking points down, but do we see that? Are we concerned about that? Do you see access as an issue? Are there, and for students who have completed the grant-funded programs and they wish to continue, are we seeing, could you talk a little bit about that relationship?
Absolutely. So we have seen strong enrollment this fall, and we were really pleased to see that. So that does not seem to be an issue in terms of a deterrent to students. We know that students in our ELAP program are eligible for financial aid. Many of them do use financial aid to pay for courses. There are also a number of scholarships available to support these students. But that progression from the non-credit ESL to ELAP really depends on the student. Some of them are already in the workforce and will remain in the workforce. Some of them will enter the workforce using the skills that they've acquired in non-credit ESL. Some of them will want to pursue college-level coursework and then pursue transfer and will progress to ELAP. So it varies, to be honest. It is not necessarily sort of a single track that our students follow.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm. I'll go opposite this way. I'll go Councilmember Mink this time.
Thanks. I wondered if you could just talk a little bit more about the refugee program.
Sure. The refugee program has been in the county since the 1980s. We were originally in the school system and then moved over to the college around 2005, I think it was. So the refugee program can serve people who live in Montgomery or Prince George's. It is a workforce first kind of program. So the English language instruction that we provide is really focused on getting folks to their first job. We work a lot with the local resettlement agencies. And so we monitor situation very closely. Those students have to have certain documentation when they enroll with us, so they have to be here as a refugee. We cannot take, for example, students with temporary protected status. That doesn't qualify. That money comes through HHS and then goes to our Maryland Office for Refugees and Asylees and then back to us then.
With the, have you seen a decrease then because of the decrease in the number of refugees being admitted?
Yeah, we saw numbers shoot up during the last administration. Once those things started to settle down, now we think we've plateaued and we're starting to see some drops. However, folks who come with refugee status are eligible for benefits for up to 5 years, so there's still a little bit of lag time that we anticipate seeing, and we are just monitoring the trends.
And that's really good to know. I mean, also with the impact that has been had on the resettlement agencies and the dramatic decrease in the number of caseworkers that they all, that are available. We're still working with some caseworkers who are now don't have jobs anymore and are just volunteering and supporting some of the same families. It's rough out there, as you all know. But I wonder also about losing the connection to, the referrals, as in addition to the impact on the population that's just here, but being able to get them in the doors without the resettlement agencies having the staffing and the resources that they did before. Is that something that you are seeing it?
The infrastructure, not yet, no. The infrastructure took a horrible hit the last time this happened, and so we would expect the same thing to happen again. Fortunately, with the college connections to the community, we have very robust relationships, and we leverage each and every one of those to the degree that we can to make sure that we're accessing everybody that we can. We have an outreach coordinator who goes out and who keeps us informed of what she's hearing from her contacts. So we will continue to do that as we move ahead. Certainly our relationship, for example, with Workforce Montgomery serves us incredibly well. All of our workforce English programs go to help that population as well, and everyone's eligible. So there are lots of structures in place to be able to support people as we move forward.
That's great. And the workforce focus, are there particular careers that are that you all focus on within the refugee program that tend to be the most popular, or what can you tell us about the course?
Within the refugee program, we have seen a wide range, and so that's one of the real advantages of being linked to all of the ESL programs, having them linked all together, so that we maybe only have 1 or 2 people over here, but maybe we have 10 over there. So we bring them all together, and then we can really start to begin something. So we're seeing a wide range of interest levels in the folks who are arrived, and it also really follows trends in educational background and what the folks were doing before they left their first countries as to the kinds of jobs that they'll be interested in when they get there. Right now, we're seeing a fairly wide range. So it's not everybody's interested in IT for the moment. Healthcare is one of those ones that continues to be of interest to everyone, and so we really do work hard to keep a solid English for healthcare programs, for example. We work together with local health agencies in long-term care. We offer a nursing assistant program. We do pharmacy tech. We partner a lot with the other college health sciences unit in order to offer specialized programming for our students and provide them with support and scholarships.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will say that we have sent a lot of people your way. As you know, we have a lot of refugees in District 5, centered in some of our specific apartment complexes where the resettlement agencies have located many hundreds of people. And, to your point, the healthcare one, that comes up a lot. We interact with a lot of folks who were doing really critical, important, formative work in healthcare overseas, and now they are here and want to be able to put the skills to work here, and this program has been really, really helpful to be able to refer folks to find a pathway into that work here, which we badly need them in the workforce here as well. So really important work there. I'll yield for now. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Albanese.
Thank you. Most of my questions have been asked. Great presentation as always. I guess just could you talk a little bit more about the holistic student support? What do we mean by that? Going back to the point I made with our friends at McHale, the behavioral health issues, the mental health challenges that this population in particular, I think we're all keenly sensitive to. How are we providing additional layers of support or connections to other resources?
Certainly, thank you. Our student health and wellness centers at MC are really the focus of a lot of this work, and they are supporting students through basic needs support, for example, through food pantries on campus, through some of our distribution, mobile markets, and events like that where students and community members can come if they are food insecure. We also on our campuses have clothing resources available for students, and certainly through student affairs. Our counseling and advising faculty can provide students with that mental health support, connections for community support, community resources when students find themselves in need. So that's a large part of that work, I think, as we make sure that our learners, when they come to us, are in a position that they are ready and prepared and able to learn. As students progress on their academic journey as well, we also want to make sure that we are offering them the academic supports that they will need in the classroom through things like free tutoring, through our Academic Success Center, our Reading, Writing, and Language Center, giving them the digital literacy skills that they will need, from everything from making a PowerPoint to using generative AI, through our digital learning centers. So it's really, I think, a focus on the whole student and an attempt to help them succeed regardless of what the needs they bring us are. We want the classroom to be a place where they're not being held back by other needs and other challenges.
I love that. And then just last question. So clubs, arts opportunities, sports, those extracurricular activities, how are we intentionally connecting these awesome students to those opportunities and making sure they're aware of them?
That's a nice question. Thank you very much. I think, again, a lot of this work is done by our colleagues in student affairs, and so I might defer to some of my colleagues on this question, but I do think, especially in the first weeks of the semester, we are very active in our outreach to students through fairs for new students, Club Rush, tabling on campus where students can walk around and they can see students with similar interests. They can engage, learn about opportunities to co-curricular engagement, other opportunities outside the classroom, and those opportunities certainly are open to our entire student body. So I think this time of year in particular, should you come to campus, you will see very active spaces on campus as our current students who are active in student governance, student life, student clubs are doing outreach to our new students and to bring them in and get them involved in events on campus.
That's awesome. And then final question for now is, I think Montgomery College is probably the best return on investment we can ask for in higher education by a lot. But even with the very reasonable price points that we have for students, it's still hard and more difficult to access for some of our students, particularly this population. So how are we working with them to provide financial aid assistance and connection to unique funding opportunities or grants or scholarships?
We are always, in our unit in particular, the AEB-SCC unit, we are always looking for new grant resources. Now, this is going to tighten up over the time, we acknowledge that. But with robust data collection and being able to demonstrate how we can progress, we're hoping that we can ride out this tide forward. But it is our concern, too. We want to make sure that we're able to offer people a full suite of services. And so grant funding will continue to play a role, although we know that we'll need to diversify and make plans for the future as well. Do you want to speak to scholarships and financial aid for credit?
Thank you. So in our ELAP program in English Language for Academic Purposes, our students are eligible for federal financial aid. They also have the opportunity to apply for scholarships through the MC Foundation. And I would add that our faculty are especially cognizant of the fact that expenses go beyond tuition and fees, right? And so work on initiatives like using open educational resources instead of textbooks, through creating Z courses where students do not pay for textbooks. We try to limit the obstacles that might hinder student access and hinder success throughout the journey, not just upon admission.
Great.
Just to add to that, I would say we are also in the midst of our largest fundraising campaign in the college's history, a $50 million campaign, to which we've already raised about $40 million. So that also supports our students' financial needs.
Wonderful. Thank you.
That's awesome to hear. Councilmember Mink has, I think, one more question.
Actually, just building off of Councilmember Alpernos's question, which is about what mine was going to be, and but to add a fine point to it, for folks who are not eligible for federal financial aid, if you could just speak to resources, scholarships that would be available. Do you have resources and scholarships, et cetera, that are available to students who are not eligible for federal financial aid that they might be eligible for here?
So the Montgomery College Foundation would have support for students who were not eligible for federal financial aid, and the website for that provides students different opportunities for which they can apply.
great. And I think that's, as they're increasing populations through federal efforts to make people increasingly ineligible for federal financial aid, important for the community to know that we are a welcoming and supportive community, and that very much includes the resources that you all are leveraging at Montgomery College. Thanks.
One of my favorite events of the year, the Montgomery County Foundation gala or dinner. I don't know if it's already happened or spring. It's been the spring. Yeah, I think so. I love that event. So please make sure I'm invited again. And because the students are awesome and the people are awesome, and it's another great thing that we do here in the county and the college does. Before we transition to the East County Community Center, the East County campus, soon to be, more than that, the East County Education Center, soon to be the East County campus. Let me put it the right way. I did see on one of the first slides a dip in 25, similar to what we saw on the McHale slides, a dip in enrollment for the adult ESOL and basic skills for college and careers. Just wanted to know, are you seeing, was that in the second half, was that in January to June, or what are you seeing, and anything you can share on that?
So far, enrollment seems stable, knock on wood.
Okay.
We know that our teachers are out there working very hard to make sure that our students feel like they're in a safe and welcoming environment, and the college has done this as well. So we are, I wouldn't say optimistic, we're sort of prepared, but for the moment, we're full, and people are coming, and we're very proud of them.
So the dip I'm talking about is just that we're not done with 25. You expect it to,
right.
You expect people to enroll in courses and it'll go
Yeah,
go up?
the dip was not really significant to us.
Okay.
We know that there was going to be some dips in different places, and maybe you're referencing the one on that first slide there.
First slide, yeah.
Yeah. That is also a compilation of numbers, so it's not just the AELG numbers, but it was also, for example, our citizenship program, and
Got
that
it.
funding was rescinded.
Got it.
So
Okay.
we did
All right.
see some drops off of that. So it might not have been in the AELG program per se,
Could have been
but
the
there was that number that you're seeing is all of the programs in our unit.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, still robustly over 10,000. So
Yeah, so we're holding strong. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Awesome. Well, thank you for all the work you're doing. I will just double tap the coordination piece. You know, we didn't have MCPS here today, but obviously you all are providing a ton of service to residents. McHale's network of programs, MCPS, we always want to make sure we're communicating, covering as many as possible, and supporting and leveraging each other's strengths. And just glad all of you are here today. So we really appreciate all the work you're doing. So thank you so much. We'll bring down the East County team. Keep rolling. Yeah, let's keep rolling. Do some musical chairs.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. Thank you, Dr. Kinnearney. So we will be joined by a few other members.
Thank you to
Montgomery
McHale
College.
for sticking around.
And as they get situated, I will. This is the. Oh, watch that. All right. You good, Dr. Price? Okay. All right. So let me thank you, Vice President Joando. So as for now, we get situated. We are excited, very excited to share about East County Education Center and our path towards a fourth campus in the eastern part of our county. And it's amazing that we can do that. And one of the reasons we can do that is because of you. So thank you for your support of everything that is occurring in East County, and we're again excited to share what is happening. East County Education Center, Vice President Joando, as you mentioned, has had it's a transformative impact on East County to date, and it's about 18 months old, right? And we're looking forward to amplifying, enhancing that transformative impact as we proceed to grow East County Education Center and move towards a campus. And when I talk about that in a moment, just to intro this and the folks who are here, again, celebrated its first anniversary in April. It's quickly become a hub, for community with classes, programs, and an array of events that are hosted at ECEC. In just 18 months, ECEC has served thousands of students and community members. Overall enrollment has grown nearly 40% between fall 24 and fall 25. And actually, if we think about going back to summer of 24, ECEC, and we opened in April 1st. It was the middle of the semester for us. We have these things called semesters. I know college was a long time for a lot of us. We still have these things called semesters. And we at Montgomery College, we're very awesome. We have parts of term that take those semesters and chop them up. So, because we know our students have different needs and we want to meet our students. But in summer, we started with 64 students who are enrolled in credit classes in summer of 24. And we now have 713 students who are taking credit classes here. Right, the center has become home to our new LPN program, leveraging nursing labs and the proximity to healthcare providers. The ECEC has become home to a new, to the location, dual enrollment program. Cybersecurity program has occurred previously, but this fall, we launched a dual enrollment program, or cybersecurity specifically, at ECEC. So when we were able to visit, I know I ran into a group of high school students from a multitude of high schools that were there taking their first college class, and will in 2 years be graduating with an associate's in cybersecurity. So just a massive amount of wonderful things that are occurring, and team members will talk more about that as we think about, as we pursue, as we endeavor to accomplish the goal of a campus. We know that future is predicated upon your continued leadership. So thank you in advance for that. We know that we want to deliver a full service campus to East County. We know that means it will not only meet the workforce needs of the county, but it also meet the community needs. We know that means state-of-the-art facilities. We know that means classrooms and lab spaces, opportunities for, as you have mentioned multiple times, Councilmember Albernaz, engagement outside of the classroom. Right? When we think about the arts, when we think about athletics, that is what we were looking toward. And to give a deeper understanding of our efforts, we have a presentation on both ECEC and our progress towards East County campus. And so to my left, you'll hear from about ECEC, Dr. Deidre Price, our Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and College Provost, and Dr. Tiffany Ray Patterson, who's our Senior Vice President for Student Affairs. And we also have with us Mr. Marcus Pinor, our Interim Dean of Student and Academic Affairs for the East County Education Center. He is the individual who is there on a daily basis, the point of contact. And to wrap it up for us, we'll have Mr. Sherwin Collette, our Senior Vice President for Administrative and Fiscal Services, and our Chief Operating Officer. So I will turn it over to Dr. Price, our Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and College Provost.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and to share a little bit about East County Education Center and the exciting work that's happening there. I am excited to be joined by my colleagues from Student Affairs. So what you'll hear today is a mix of updates from Academic Affairs and Student Affairs as we think about East County Education Center as a model for a collaborative vision and a way in which we're serving students in a very student-centered, mindful way to demystify college and to open new doors of access for our students across the county. So within the presentation, we start with a vision for student-centered experiences. And in the newest location of Montgomery College, there exists a number of newer, more innovative models that are featured at the site. The programs and services that are co-located at the facility deliver students with seamless access to centralized services that blend support and services for students who are enrolled in credit and non-credit programming, while also delivering the community with a location that provides instructional and meeting spaces that are designed for collaboration supported by the technology of tomorrow. And we do have a presentation. Okay.
There it is.
Okay.
Yep,
Just wanted to make sure you could see. And we're on the next slide. Great. So this is the vision for student-centered experiences that I was referencing. It does just highlight a few features of the site, which includes the flexible instructional spaces that are adaptive for faculty and student needs, our program pathways, which again reflect a mix of academic programs that we would typically see on a college campus, but also incorporates a lot of workforce development opportunities, community engagement opportunities, and things that are leading students to alternative credentials that will hasten their pathway to success in a career. And then also service departments that are prepared to lead students toward that academic success. Just as Dr. Campbell mentioned earlier, we're really working to eliminate any barrier that a student might have, and also not just to react to those barriers, but to proactively identify them and be prepared for anything a student might face, and to make sure that the East County Education Center has all of those resources on hand and in-house to assure that students don't get discouraged and that they do have the level of access they need. So as we move into talking about a vision for college-wide collaboration, this ECEC project has provided the college with a new way to integrate student affairs and academic affairs operations. Our teams consequently have engaged in cross-training and co-location of staff to serve our students across a wide variety of programs. The site has increased our access for K-12 students to participate in youth programs that are offered at the college, and things like Montgomery Can Code are thriving at the East County Education Center. We also have other student camps that pique students' interests in the arts, in technical fields, and are building families' awareness right now about the college's offerings more broadly, and they amplify our ability to message to the community in more specific ways to meet students and parents where they are, and also to show them the many ways in which the college can be a part of their students' stories in the many years ahead. Okay, next slide. So MC student success in the East County. So we celebrate our student success as a result of the East County Education Center project. At its inception, we projected that the center would serve 1,000 students in its first year. And of course, we surpassed that count, and the enrollment increases have continued again in our second year, as Dr. Williams referenced. But more than enrollment increases, the opening of ECEC provided the college with opportunities to bring community members together to continue hearing their needs and the ways in which we see their own pursuits and work aligning with the education and training opportunities that are provided in the East County Education Center. And in direct response to the community feedback we have received, we have established that new dual enrollment pathway through the early college program in cybersecurity, and are continuing to explore the ways in which we can build up our K-12 programming, both for non-credit and credit at the site, to meet growing community need. So we have some goals for the year ahead. The first goal, of course, is to continue increasing our enrollment. We have incredible numbers now. We've served over 2,700 students at the site to date since its opening, but we are looking to really increase enrollment both in non-credit and credit opportunities at the site, and are doing that actively daily. For goal 2, we're strengthening the student and employee experience, and it takes some time to build a culture of a space. And so we're doing that right now with the East County Education Center Student Life projects and the work that we're doing through the Learning Center operations as well, with library services and our tutoring services available too for students. And I will say, if you visited the East County Education Center recently, this semester specifically, it feels different from last year. So I encourage you to stop by anytime you like. We have been struck by the volume of people in the building, and especially the exciting presence that happens when you enter high school students into a space like that. So our lounge areas are getting a lot of use, and we're really excited to see full classes daily. So Voices at Work, our community and our college is the next slide. So this just highlights a few of the ways in which the college has partnered with the community to inform the programming and services to expand access at the site. We're continuing to work closely with our business and industry partners to support and enrich our academic and workforce programs across the college and also across the curriculum. And this past year, I can additionally share that we are working across divisions to ensure that our efforts beyond individual divisions are collaborative and inclusive of all the angles through which the college is engaged with and connected to Montgomery County. An example of this is the development of a new work group that we specifically designed to bring together members of our career services team, our workforce development and continuing education team, and leadership. With our foundation team, we talked about funding just earlier to make sure we're eliminating that gap in knowledge and awareness for our students. We also pulled together our grants team and our community engagement team. And as you can imagine, these folks exist across the college, but it's so important that we're going to the community with a unified voice, with unified asks and unified opportunities. That can work wonders for our ability to expand internships, apprenticeships, funding partnerships, presence on advisory councils. And so in unifying that voice through that new collaboration, we are really catalyzing the work the college does to engage our community members and business partners. It's incredibly important that we also respect the time, energy, and resources and investment that our partners make at MC. And so through the establishment of some of these centralized databases and other systems to streamline communication, asks, and opportunities for businesses to connect with MC, we make this partnership easier on everyone, and we increase our opportunities for clear, concise messaging to reach our partners with new and emerging opportunities that serve our students and build their talent pipelines for employment. This also helps them to work with the college as we jointly work to support economic mobility across the community in Montgomery County. So your voice in action in academic affairs is where we're headed next. I have a couple of slides that feature different types of activities and opportunities where we have engaged the community. And as you know, this is the community's college. So we exist to serve, and we exist to inspire and equip our residents with the ideas and resources that they need in education to be successful in their careers and also in their lives beyond MC. And on the second slide here, you'll see a few examples too of things that we have built and developed in response to that community feedback. So we heard from the community the need for multilingual support from the start of a student's journey all the way until the end. So from recruitment to admission, in their classes and beyond. We continue to build classes into the schedule that provide that support, and we are working still to design in collaboration with the community academic services systems and library resource systems that align with the diversity of students and learners we serve. This semester, we are developing a project that looks at new ways to engage community members at East County Education Center through the Learning Center specifically, which is co-located with our library services team. They provide basic needs support as well for students on site. Again, we want to destigmatize, and we want to ensure that students have readily access available to everything. We don't want them having to hunt for resources on campus, but we want to make things just there in all the spaces that we are in, sharing with student affairs and also with academic affairs. Now, we see incredible opportunity ahead as a result of our continued listening and learning with the community members in response to the establishment of the East County Education Center. I also want to share that we're working to make sure our students are well prepared to navigate the career pathways ahead of them. And so we have specifically added career navigators as well to this location for the next year ahead, because we know that that is a new and emerging need for students to go ahead and think about that career pathway at the outset of their academic journey. And so making that also a resource that's readily available has been prioritized. So this on the screen just gives you an example of one of the academic achievements that we've celebrated already in East County. We are seeing these achievements daily, and I'll just share that we've honored many more of our students for their excellence in academics through awards and honor ceremonies, and we're already planning more of these achievement ceremonies throughout the coming year. So easy success by the numbers. I wanted to give you just a few snapshots of some data points that show beyond enrollment the ways that students are engaged and using the East County Education Center, and how the county through Montgomery College is supporting our learners in the East County. So the thing that I think is striking about these numbers is this is beyond enrollment, right? So this is the utilization of the space. This is the participation and engagement with the services and the personnel that are staffing that site. So I think that when we think about the number of students using our food pantries, attending tutoring services through the Learning Center, coming to our events, and that's 56 events, but think about the participants and the total numbers of students and community members that are served. It's really remarkable the impact that it's made, and in such a short time, we have much to celebrate. So academic year affairs for year 26, fiscal year 26. This gives you a lot of information, but it does harken back to and remind us of a few things that have been shared to date related to the programming in the East County Education Center. I just want to mention that the LPN, from the LPN to the cyber with the early college pathway, we're already seeing tremendous successes and wins at the site. We have seen 2 LPN cohorts graduate already, and this is just the beginning. The establishment of the early college cybersecurity program meant additional seats for traditional college students to enroll in the program as well, and work toward a credential in a high-wage, high-demand field that will lead to employment immediately following their graduation from that 2-year program. And on this next slide, I'll also share that While we focus on academic and workforce program availability in the East County Education Center, I do think it's equally important to underscore the ways in which Montgomery College is providing services to equip the whole student when we work with them at the college. We are continuing to anticipate any obstacle the student may have, anything that would impact their access or their student success in the programs that we provide, and looking to close that gap, eliminate that barrier in anticipation of providing hospitable, thoughtful instruction through irresistible learning environments that prepare them to enter the workforce or to transfer to one of our university partners with confidence and competence, no matter their field and no matter their next step. So I'd love now to invite my colleague, Dr. Tiffany Ray Patterson, Senior Vice President for Student Affairs, to share some more information about the great things happening at Montgomery College through Student Affairs.
Good afternoon. Thanks. Oops. I said I wouldn't do it, but I did it. Good afternoon. I'm Tiffany Ray Patterson, and I'm happy to be here to talk about the amazing work that's going on to support students. So all these amazing things are happening in the classroom around academic programs and teaching and learning. We also want to make sure that we're wrapping around the student and looking at their holistic needs. And so as we do this, we want to ensure that the students that are there have the critical support that they need to be successful in the classrooms. We also want to make sure that the students we haven't met yet have seamless access to these opportunities. And so our Raptor Central area is an opportunity to centralize these services in one space so students don't have to navigate to different locations to find them. These are our enrollment services, our counseling and advising services, our records and registration, our cashier, and financial aid and workforce development and continuing education. This mirrors what we have on our campus locations, but uniquely, we've integrated the work that's happening in workforce development and continuing education in our cashier's office. So it truly is a one-stop opportunity for students to be able to navigate access to ECEC and MC. Along with that, we wanted to make sure that we're repairing our presence with staffing and support. And so we've been able to ramp up pretty quickly with the type of employees that are available to assist our students. This includes people who are serving as enrollment services staff, our advising arm, our financial aid counselors, and our folks that are working in our cashier services and our workforce development and continuing education areas. This is a nice picture, and we love all of our opportunities to engage with our students, particularly in the first week of classes. So this is hot off the press. This happened a few weeks ago when we opened our fall semester. Since we opened, we've served over 2,800 students in our Raptor Central area. This is really, really amazing work in the short period of time. This does not include the students that we've also served virtually. So we have students that come into the center. We have students that we can serve virtually, and we have students that we serve out in the community in high schools and at partner agencies. We've also served over 300 students through our TRIO Educational Opportunity Center. TRIO Educational Opportunity Center is a federally funded grant program, but it allows us to provide post-secondary education counseling as well as financial assistance resources to community members. And then lastly, we've done some incredible work, as you've already heard, with growing enrollment. And so we're just excited about that trajectory and providing more access for community members in East County. Our partners in the Office of Advancement and Community Engagement also have been busy in the community. This has been an important focus. We've hosted a number of events, a fall festival, the mental health family forum, a job fair, a resource event for our French language speakers. This has allowed us to be really intentional about engaging the community and making sure that there's dialogue and forums for people to express the things that they need in the ways that we can address them. We've also been focused on families and their place in the community and their connection to us. And so we've had some opportunities to host some events, workshops, and invite members in to participate, and that's on the next slide. And then on the next slide, we've done some specific outreach for first generation students, additionally making sure that we're bridging the gap with language. So we've hosted multilingual welcome events. We'd have interpretation services and various services, just another way that we're able to meet students where they are with the language needs that are necessary to make sure that we're making those connections really relevant for the students that we're serving. Thank you for that, and I'll pass it on to Dean Pinor to talk a little bit more about our work ahead.
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Marcus Pinord. I am the interim dean of student and academic affairs at the East County Education Center. And so I'm glad you all get the opportunity to hear all the wonderful things that we're doing for students, but also for employees, because it's a great opportunity to be here today to sit before you and just share some of the things that are going to be ahead. So at the East County Education Center, we're trying to bolster the student experience. So we talked about the wraparound services. So some of what we're looking to do in this academic year is doing more student activities and supporting students with basic needs. So bringing in our campus-based student life offices to do activities to engage students, and also bolster up and scale some more of the basic needs programming, whether it's food insecurity or directing students to resources outside of ECEC as well. You've heard some of the career-based and career-focused programs, so partnering with WorkSource Montgomery and other areas in the community to make sure students understand what opportunities exist in the community in East County and throughout the county, the larger county. And then bolstering enrollment, we want to make the center into the 4th campus of Montgomery College. So doing open houses, working with recruitment, working with community engagement to make sure the high schools that are in the area understand what opportunities exist at East County and be able to do those programs that lead to degrees and careers. Okay, you can do this over there. No, you're fine.
That's so your slide there.
You want to pause here, Vice President?
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, one thing we can do, I think we just have Mr. Collette joining, right? So why don't you come on down? You've been hiding out there in the back there. But I don't, not to cut you off, so if you have anything else to say, but I think we'll go through all of East County and just do it at the end, if that's okay. If that's okay with colleagues. Yeah. Come on down. Because just as important, or going along with all the great growth and excitement at East County campus is hopefully the future of the East County Education Center, but the East County campus. So we'll ask questions holistically about the services and the process, if that's all right. So jump on in.
Sure, thank you. Where will we be going? We are the places we shall go, indeed.
Yeah, it's a great book.
So next slide, please. So I think as we think about serving the East County, it's important that we understand the East County. So we wanted to begin first by sharing with you how, as we think about the community that we seek to serve and expanding on what we have already begun with the East County Education Center, that even beginning, and you can go to the next slide, please, beginning back at our leadership conference, Administrative Leadership Conference in June, we invited, through a part of a data study with the administrators, an opportunity to engage with the some East County data. And shout out to my partners over there, Mr. Banday and Salas in the East County Government Center, and their work around supporting and engaging us and providing and keeping us apprised of these types of data. So we just wanted to share that as a college community, we are working to be sure that we deepen our collective understanding of the community we seek to serve in the East County. Next slide, please. Ensuring that we understand collectively data about the differences than the distinctions that exist in the census designated places that make up the East County, so that we're ensuring that as we begin to plan and program for academic and student support and community services, that we're not treating the community as a monolith. Next slide, please. And so across these, from the housing types, the income and growth opportunities, also allowing us to think clearly about how we plan for sustainable growth, understanding plans that are underway, master plans that are underway across the communities of the East County that we can align with and plan for, right? Because as we think about expanding access, growing our institution, we have to do so in a sustainable manner. Next slide. So to touch a bit on next around some of the ways in which we're beginning that planning process. Next slide. So we know that this is work that we cannot do by ourselves. And so here, just illustrating for you work we've begun by engaging with Canon Design as our master planner for the East County campus that will help us through the full life cycle of site identification, review of sites, potential sites, working with us through the process as we seek to meet the requirements of the Maryland Higher Education Commission as they have designated those requirements for site selection, and we'll come to that in a moment. But we also need recognizing that there's a significant engineering aspect. We need to contemplate the options and opportunities for how we fund and finance the development of a campus. Again, this is not the development of a building. It's a full and comprehensive campus. And if you were to think about, imagine in your mind's eye for a moment, building the Tacoma Park Silver Spring or the Germantown or the Rockville campus in all of its vibrance, it's going to take a lot of infrastructure and a lot of financial resources both to develop and then to operate. And so the need and necessity to think about things like transportation at the campus, integrating with existing transportation plans, wanting to be sure that we the ability to get onto campus, off campus, among and across the campus works. And so this ecosystem that you see here is around the different partners. And an important element there is a commitment that we have from the beginning with our master planning to effectively and thoroughly engage all aspects of the East County communities so that we're ensuring that we hear from residents of the East County, their interests, needs, opportunities, aspirations as we look to develop this. And that means not simply waiting for them to come to us, but from the very beginning going to the community. When we developed the college's facilities master plan last year, we, despite not having only recently opened the Education Center, we spent time in the East County, just up from the center, providing an opportunity for residents to come there, participate online by responding to a survey, and to be at least minimally be apprised of the work. And so the commitment to engage across the entirety of this work in bringing this campus to fruition is an important element to both be responsive to and engaging the needs and aspirations of the community. Next slide. To give you a bit of an overview around some important project timelines, lots of work to do to get from where we are today to where we need to be. And over the course of the next year and a half, some really important steps to take as we engage both at the county and state levels. There is work that's underway around identifying site options, working more deeply with some than others. I'm going to be intentionally circumspect about what we say in that realm, given some of the work that involves sites that's very specifically around land acquisition and keeping full options open around how those land parcels that may be appropriate for a campus are then priced so that we can continue to make them affordable. But what we wanted to just illustrate here for you is that there's some key milestones that will drive us towards ensuring that we're in parallel paths around identifying the sites, working through the work internally and externally around our colleagues in student and academic affairs around what are the kinds of academic programming, student support programming needs as we seek to build and provide academic programs and resources for an economy of the future, right? How do we ensure that we build in a way that is sustainable? And then how do we engage the state processes around ensuring that while there may be a variety of sources and funds that we seek go after, that we want to be sure that we're engaged in the state process. And so keeping those elements there around the submissions around the Part 1, Part 2s and that sort of technical level, but then even more importantly, ensuring through that process that we're asking and answering the important questions that we know we need to address for the Maryland Higher Education Commission, and at the same time to putting together a comprehensive plan that will also engage have us come spend time with you as well through that process. Next slide. And so digging a bit deeper on the site selection, this just shows you that in terms of our existing campuses, the work that is included there in really looking at how we target expanded populations, recognizing that while we seek to serve the East County and then with this campus, their impacts along the way and opportunities in those impacts as we think about not only the East County, but you see what may be possible beyond the borders of the county. I'll leave it there. Next slide, please. But also wanting to, as I alluded to before, our state partners have a set of expectations that really come down to prove it to us that you're thinking about site and where that site should be for a campus makes sense. And these are the criteria working from pieces around accessibility. How is the campus infrastructure and transportation going to be and has been and will be addressed? And how are the particular characteristics of the campus site being thought through? Are there potential problems around utilities, or are costs going to go up because you have so much of an infrastructure to bring in to deliver the kind of robust infrastructure to make the campus come alive? How are we assessing costs? And again, going back to that first slide around the ecosystem of partners that we're bringing to the table to help ensure that we are thinking through these at the level that is necessary to be responsive to and thoughtful about how we look at these. So from the size to how it integrates and is harmonized with the community, the environmental impacts and how we're thinking about sustainable uses and things like that are all part of the equation. And through that journey, right, there'll be pieces where the Board of Trustees will need to, as we engage the planning board here, we engage general services at the state, we work through the Maryland Higher Education Committee, the Board of Public Works, all through the navigating this process. And that's why engaging Canon Design as our planners and partners there, that work is going to help shepherd us through this, and again, engaging this committee and the council through that process. Lastly, I just wanted to say, and when we developed the facilities master planning, and I spoke a moment to engaging in the community through that work, these are some important characteristics that will inform our planning, and we'll certainly loop back through this to test these to see how they are holding up over time. The commitment remains that it's a comprehensive, holistic campus of all full services that mirror, in terms of the breadth of services, academic and student support and community services as are others. There's an opportunity certainly for us to think about how we imagine and reimagine learning spaces, how we think about and attend to student and employee wellness. And these are items that came directly from engagement with the internal and external communities around what we should be thinking about. Ensuring that it not only supports access, but how do we provide space around a student services location, hence a student union of sorts that provides full comprehensive services. How might that attend to physical and behavioral health needs, basic needs? How are we thinking about dining options and opportunities as well, and full array of services to support students? And then how does this campus, in its harmony with the community, invite the community and community engagement? You see already with the East County Education Center, by design, we have the community space accessible immediately from the courtyard. You don't have to navigate in through and navigate around the building. And those simple but important pieces. How are the spaces and places supporting different types of learners? How are we attending to parenting learners? How are we engaging and providing supports for business and industry to engage in that process as well. So lots going on and thinking about as we look to build out this. And again, just remind us all that it is a journey. It's going to take some time. The next 6 to 12 months really important around key pieces we need to define as we look for and identify the ideal location. And in that process, think through creatively around what are those public benefits as well that serve the broader community, that then also are connected to and supporting various financing options as well. So thank you. Dr. Williams.
Thank you all. Thank you, Vice President. Thank you, council members. I'd love to embrace any questions or comments that you have.
Great. Yeah, thank you. And just really exciting stuff about what's currently happening, how we've exceeded the enrollment projections already at the center, and just all the work that's happening on the ground. I will say I am in desperate need of the new branded MC shirt with the colors. Susan, I don't know what's going on, but I think I'll speak for the entire committee that we want to be up to date. But no, it's really, really great, and appreciate the update on both what's happening there now, how much excitement there is, the fact that dual enrollment's already started, and that we're on this concurrent process of trying to build the future campus. So all really exciting. I'm going to yield to the East County representative, even though I am the East County resident on the committee, but the very strong East County representative, Council Member Mink, to start us off.
Well, I think we all share the pride of place in East County. I love everything that's happening there, the opportunities that are being opened up for our students, and how sensitive they are to the different, the wants of the community. And it's been really exciting to run into people on the ground, as I was, telling our friends at McHale similarly, to running into people on the ground who are spontaneously talking about their use of the ECEC. It certainly reflects how, when we provide an investment to Montgomery College to grow something in East County, how great of a return that is, which is exactly what we want to see as we're thinking forward to an investment in the campus. It's just an incredible return on investment on behalf of our community, but it serves us in so many ways. The business community, it's very exciting, and we can really see the possibilities of the campus unfolding before us in this microcosm here at the ECEC that is already doing so much with just that space alone. And our colleague, Councilmember Balcombe, was just telling me just earlier this week that she was there for a meeting, and she was just raving about how beautiful it is, and how evident the exciting opportunities are just from the infrastructure alone and the classrooms, and just raving. So we love to see it. We love to see it. Thank you all very much for the work that you have done on that. As you mentioned, we want everybody in East County, all those students who are coming up through MCPS, we want them all to know that there's all these opportunities waiting for them at the East County Education Center, and then down the line at the campus. And so really appreciate hearing about the outreach efforts there. And so I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that. I know there's outreach events that you mentioned that are planned for specifically to reach the high school students, but what does it look like? How are we trying to make sure that all of those MCPS students, our captive audience, knows that they have this resource right at their fingertips?
Thank you, Council Member Mink, and I'll pass it over to Dr. Ray Patterson or Dean Pinor, whoever she chooses. But I was just share I was there, and that was a MC-EDC meeting. That's right. And one of the things that we kind of highlighted throughout is how we're engaging the community. So ECEC is providing an opportunity for groups to meet. So it is highlighting the East County to individuals who may not otherwise be there, or otherwise be there as frequently as they would be now that we have such an awesome facility as ECEC. Another group is also like Leadership Montgomery, right, who is having events there. So just there's providing that. I know we didn't uplift everything, but since you mentioned Councilmember Balcombe, that's why she was there, and there also are those opportunities. But Dr. Ray Patterson?
our access and recruitment team is busy. And they're working really hard in the schools and also at the center. I think part of the experience is making sure that we're meeting students where they are in their schools and helping them navigate the process. I think the other part of the experiences or opportunities to bring folks to the center and have them see kind of the magic that can happen when they're in spaces like that. And so both are being planned. I think Dean Pinor talked a lot about how we want to do some of that outreach and have opportunities for open houses. So those are currently and actively being scheduled. The other thing that we're really focused on as well are opportunities to bring in parents or support systems in to hear more about this in conjunction with the potential student. We know that there are other opportunities beyond those for our traditional populations. We talked a little bit about the workforce development and continuing education opportunities, and so we want to be really holistic about how we're bringing students and potential students to the center to learn about those spaces. Dean Pinor.
And so it's engaging in opportunities in the community too. So like Burnsville Day is coming up, and I know our recruiters will have a table there.
We'll see you there.
Yeah, yes. There was talk of a float. I don't know if that's happening or not, but we at least have a tent and a table set up. Some of our recruiters have been at the football game, local high schools and the football game and the kickoff and the excitement that comes with that. And so trying to reach the students, but also to parents who are also the ones that will be encouraging students to take that next step. So all of the things are on the table. And you may even see me at the high school because I just want to see what the vibe is and hear what students are saying, hear how counselors are talking about it, how principals are talking about it. So
wonderful. Is there a system in place by which, are all MCPS students during their high school career at some point seeing a presentation or something about MC and USG and about these pathways?
They should, yes, because recruiters are assigned to certain territories in high schools throughout the county, so they should. Yeah, absolutely. And then with the ACES program as well, students are being exposed to Montgomery College in that way.
I mean, there's a lot of great programs and there's a lot of great people in positions to facilitate those conversations and to lift up those opportunities. But and this is, we don't have NCPS here with us, and this is a conversation for them also. But I'm just, we've got MCPS, right? They're all there, and so having a system in place by which we make sure that everybody is going to an assembly or at whatever, at some point in the school year, that all of our students are in some systemic way, whether it's in the classroom or in the auditorium or whatever, that they are seeing a compelling presentation about MC and USG and the, leave it to ACES and so on, the various coordinators and stuff for people to work out the details, but just so that they know that this is right here on their doorstep. What a great opportunity.
And I was just sharing, thank you for that, Council Member Mink, and I think about in the collaboration, kind of this through line through your afternoon, and I know beyond, is actually last year, because we have this bold goal of ensuring that all students in MCPS are able to have an experience, an educationally purposeful experience with Montgomery College by the time they're in 7th grade, Council Member Mink. So when we think about that, I think about our really awesome first step to that last year, when we, in partnership with MCPS and WorkSource Montgomery, held events called World of Work and MC Experience, where we had more than 5,000 MCPS middle schoolers who engaged with Montgomery College. So yes, we endeavor to do that, and we are actually looking to do it much earlier because we want to inculcate all the members of our community, not with the idea, but with the action step that post-secondary education is what occurs after high school, right? And that could be, automotive tech, that could be rad tech, that could be anything in the continuum of what we offer here in our wonderful county. But we want to ensure that individuals know that is their next step, and we want to start early.
Absolutely. Yeah. So important. And especially when we think about it from an equity perspective, where there is a small subset of students for whom they are getting that messaging, and they have seen that, they've been told by their parents since they were yay big, you're going to go to Columbia or whatever. But for the great majority of students, right, that's not. And so making sure that we are creating those experiences for them is so very important, starting as early as possible. So that's great. And also just thinking about I know that you all are doing so much, but just thinking about the opportunity that we have, to do something to make sure that we're reaching every single student as quickly as possible. I really think that we should make sure that there is something happening, that MCPS is ensuring that there is some moment of the school year. It'd be great if starting in middle school also, but that there is some moment of the school year at which all students are seeing, a half hour of something about MC and USG, all of them, And I know we need that's MCPS also. So
duly noted. We'll bring that up.
Yeah.
And I will be sure to compliment and to add, because as you said, Councilmember Mink, there's so much that is occurring. So the MoCo CAP initiative
Yes.
via the blueprint, those individuals are educated via Montgomery College, right? So and they are speaking. Their goal is to speak with all MCPS students within certain grades. And we know that they have spoken with tens of thousands of students as per the last report, and they are talking about Montgomery College, Councilmember Mink. So
Absolutely. No doubt that there are so many lines of communications going, and we are going to, even if we already had this instituted where there's everybody seeing an assembly or whatever, we need all of those programs, because that is what lets the students take the next step and to actually make those plans and to facilitate that actually happening. But we should also make sure is that there should not be one student who is reaching their senior year of high school saying, "Oh, I didn't know, I didn't realize." And with the partnership of MCPS, I'm sure that we can make that happen. Thanks.
It's a great point. I always test students. We have so many programs when I'm with students. I always say, have you heard of this? Have you heard of something? Have you heard of it? And some have, some haven't. Right. It's just the nature of it. So we can always be doing more. So February 2026 final selection. Site selection. Is that correct?
That's where we're aiming.
That's what you're going for. Okay, and you'll let us know.
It's aggressive, yes.
I like aggressive, but we're going for it. If not, you'll let us know if something changes. And the metrics that you're using. So you talked about community input. The numbers that you had were higher than you thought. How is what's currently happening in all the great areas of East County, the map that you showed? Just talk a little bit more about how what's currently happening at the center and the work you're doing with partners to plan for what you think the size and scope of the campus will need to be. Does that make sense? What are the inputs that you're looking at, and what's your best thinking right now?
About the size and scope of the campus?
Yeah.
So we have, we're working right now on, based on the sites, a number of sketch plans to see that fit. We have contemplated, because it's helpful if you give someone a starting point rather than a blank canvas. Sure. So we're doing that work, and we are beginning across the senior leadership and with the administrators and faculty and staff to come. We'll be rolling out across all of the college those engagement opportunities, where we will be moving out to take a look at and gather feedback and perspectives around the academic and student support programs and others. So we've done some work around looking at the need for the building types, right, that we know we would need to have. I mean, we have important needs that we think also fit public benefits, right? So, for example, the largest number of students crossed the stage this past May under the big top, but that's not a sustainable option. So the opportunity for us to have a space like that can serve for convocations, for commencement, that has benefit for, we believe, Montgomery County Public Schools and other schools in the county who are going elsewhere out of the county into the District of Columbia, to Baltimore, for commencement. It's also an opportunity to think about the design of that space for instructional and performing arts through the Facilities Master Planning Program that we completed. It may be a surprise, but one of the really high demand, high growth areas are the arts. And so for us to think about those types of uses also provide affordances for a potential revenue generator in that building. The county doesn't have a venue that is large enough to house our own commencement and performances beyond what is able to be done at, say, Strathmore, and our need is significantly larger, but we see that as a broader public benefit. So that type of a public benefit, the opportunity to think about sports and entertainment as a way of attending some broader community and county needs. And then there are the specific types of academic programming. There are no wet labs, for example, in the East County Education Center. And as we think about the various academic programs for the future that we would want to house, how do we then account for that? And so we've done some work around sizing that initially, thinking about acreage, and so you have to have some options, right? If it's a smaller parcel, what might that footprint need to look like? If it's anywhere from 10, 12 to 20 acres, what do we do with that, and how do we look at those options? So lots of different options there, and in order to inform that, as I noted, we will be actively engaging and using existing structures as well, such as the East County Citizens Advisory Board and others to get out. I mean, one of their important door knocking infrastructures there, and our partners from Link that we identified who are onboarded as part of the master planning. So we'll be doing a lot of listening and getting into the community to do that, and certainly across our faculty and staff and their perspectives, and from students as well, all coming together.
Really helpful, and I think this is obviously a big community-wide, county-wide effort that's going to benefit even other parts of the state, as you showed. So the more engagement, the better, and I appreciate you laying out some of those options. As you know, we included $100,000 in the budget this year to look at a multi-use sports and entertainment facility in the county. Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez and I, and it's supported by everybody, including Councilmember Albanaz and Mink. So very excited about that opportunity as well, potential opportunity. So appreciate you mentioning that. Councilmember Albanaz.
Don't have a lot to add, just a few things. Very exciting. I mean, it's just awesome. It really is. As you walk through, I guess just one couple of questions. We're growing so fast. Are there any concerns that you're going to outgrow the existing space sooner than you originally thought? Or are we in pretty good shape until we have the long-range plans executed?
Right now, we are in a good place. I think it would depend on how fast we grow, obviously, right? So, and I'm going to turn over to Mr. Collette, but I mean, it's a 55,000 standalone square foot space, and there's definitely opportunities that we have to think about, how we're staging and framing educational opportunities in terms of throughout the week, evenings, weekends. So there's a lot of potential there. Right now, we are in a good place.
Yeah, so I think that Dr. Williams hit those notes around the flexibility the space provides. Clearly, we'll be looking at the great work that our colleagues here are doing around strengthening recruitment, outreach, and continue to grow those programs. Dr. Price noted the initial offering around a dual enrollment cybersecurity program. So when we designed the East County Education Center originally, we didn't design it for that. So we've had to we've taken some steps to look at how we provide the right infrastructure and building that out so that as that program grows, we're ready to handle capacity. So there's some flexibility, right? There's some dedicated spaces, right? Certainly the nursing labs, and as that program grows, we're not going to look demand will increase. So I think we're so far so good. We have an eye though as to where and how we prioritize in partnership and in consultation around the academic programming, how we may need to adjust in that space. And it's also why the rhythm and beat for the campus is also there as well, because if you think about it, getting the campus on the way and thinking about what comes first in terms of academic buildings on the campus, and how we then use the East County Education Center as part of that swing. It's all part of the continuum.
So that's a space piece, and I'd love to invite Dr. Price to talk about the academic programming, what she's seeing for the future.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's related to capacity and space utilization and all of that. We are looking right now to obviously add another early college program, and we're working in partnership with MCPS to assess that need and determine what that programming needs to be. As I've shared, we have the LPN program, but we're looking at also perhaps a CNA program that could be a stepping stone to getting students into that LPN program as well. We are interested in adding a general studies program that may be early college, but may also just be available for students more broadly. But that would be something that would attract transfer-bound students specifically. But at all of those opportunities, we are seeing an opportunity to increase to scale our shortened academic terms. We have, as you've heard, some fast track courses, 7-week, 8-week courses. And in doing that, students can concentrate on just a couple classes at a time, and that can really increase their ability to persist and then complete a program. It also helps with, when we're thinking about space utilization, using some more innovative practices for how we schedule the classes. A hybrid course, for example, has that reduced seat time. So it does allow us to maximize our use of East County Education Center to incorporate more offerings at the site. So we're thinking about the academic program types, but we're also thinking about the formats and the ways in which we're engaging specific student populations to get them in the door and to hopefully fill the ECEC very soon.
Wonderful, thank you. So we've built it, they're coming. I'm curious, how are they getting there? Are students primarily driving? Are they taking public transit? Because I know East County has its fair share of transit challenges, and I think that was a big consideration going into the current location. Do we track that?
So I'm looking over at one of our many partners who has helped out with that consideration and ensuring that we actually have public transportation access at ECEC, very, very, very close by. So it's not at the building, but it's extremely, extremely close, just walking distance there, a few feet away. We also now, thanks to listening to our community, and there's other things that I'll ask Mr. Collette to share more. We have a MC shuttle, and our MC shuttle does go to our East County Education Center component. But to your point, Council Member Albanaz, that is a huge consideration. Is how people will come and go to ECEC. But Mr. Collette, I know you can add more.
Yes, so certainly all modes of transportation. And so, as Dr. Williams just noted, one of the important additions for this academic year was moving our transportation system, our shuttle service, to the East County Education Center. Our team is actively engaging student voices and perspectives around access to the East County Education Center through using our shuttle. And all of our other campuses, we've made a commitment to be really deep listeners. We'll partner effectively with Dr. Price. It was their advocacy and thinking about as we expand, and last year hearing from our students about the ways in which having added transportation would be beneficial. And certainly, we are continuing to coordinate with Mr. Banday and his team around how we connect with public transit, and looking at what that means for how we ensure safety, because it's a happening place, getting in and out of. So all of those efforts to ensure we have access, provide just-in-time responses as demand shifts. And as utilization increases, we have the flexibility to add more routes to provide access to students. And there's flexibility, right? If there is an opportunity to go, as Dean Pinard and others get out to schools, and there's a demand that suggests that we need to do more direct ridership from Paint Branch High School or Springbrook, we have the flexibility to do that ourselves.
That's great. That's great. And then finally, in terms of site selection, that is an aggressive timeline, but an exciting one. And as we've talked about numerous instances, it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity to build something that is really exciting. And so I appreciate that you continue to think big about different options and opportunities there. We've discussed in the past, but possibly some kind of a conference center, which could be another revenue-generating opportunity, bringing economic development to the eastern part of the county. The concept of an arena, which I keep talking about, that could also serve as the sports learning complex and potentially a place to host graduations. So my question is, you have an amazing team who's thinking through this from every possible angle, but are there other members of sister county agencies that are formally part of that team as you're thinking about different options and opportunities, or how are you engaging MNC PPC, MCPS, or other Department of Health and Human Services, any other agencies that could potentially work with you all to have a presence in some way?
Yeah, so I would say the short answer is I know that I'm doing that
Yes.
kind of almost every day when I'm out and about and talking with individuals from just different agencies. I think about last night at a chamber event and talking with so it is on the radar. We are engaging. And, kind of a more formal way. I'll turn over to Mr. Collette to share more.
So yes, and on that slide with the road that anticipates shares out a number of the different agencies with whom we'll need to engage, and have in some instances begun that. So yes, we across. So I guess at the state level and planning, those would be the sort of agencies there that are part of that continuum. So certainly. The ways in which we need to engage here locally with planning, with general services, with county attorney, all of those pieces are at play. And then certainly at the state, we've already begun conversations with MHEC. Dr. Williams will testify on the 23rd with the state bond bill hearing. We certainly will speak to that need again, keep it in forefront of that. We're socializing it at the staff level as well, and there is also there will be a significant mobilization that's going to be necessary with elected officials, because it's something that we need to be sure that we've built the right sort of momentum and understanding around what it is we're seeking to do.
Awesome. Yeah, there continues to be a buzz on our side of the aisle for sure. We're all really excited to get the updates as you all provide them. So we're all super engaged. Just last two thoughts. Thank you so much for being partners for the Collective Impact Institute. We're really excited that this is where it's going to be housed. I know we still have to talk about envisioning exactly what it's going to look like in the long run. But I think that also presents some really unique opportunities and options. And then finally, the aesthetics of the building itself. Once we've identified a site, let's not make it look sterile. Let's make it look like something that's inviting and unique and a destination spot. And let's think creatively about the architecture that goes on that campus, because Rockville and Tacoma Park are wonderful, and Germantown is too. But let's not lose this once in a generation opportunity to make this something unique and stand out and something we can all be super proud of. So thank you.
And I would just add on that point around the aesthetic, we're fortunate in terms of the engagement with our master planner that they are recognized nationally for that acumen, and they bring that to the table with us.
We would expect nothing less from the bow tie era of Montgomery College that Dr. Williams has ushered in, and Mr. Collette has. It's contagious. You might even get me this year. I might even do it. Thank you so much. I was at the Paint Branch QO opening game. It was a dominant performance by Quince Orchard, but Montgomery College was there recruiting into the East County Center in particular, and in other programs. So really, you mentioned that. I wanted to say that I saw that in person. So we're really excited about all this. Keep us posted. We'll keep having updates. I think once we have site selection, when we come back, we'll come back before budget. Let's just as staff here and do one more update just to see where we are on things. And to your point of making sure that the public knows, our colleagues, other elected officials across the state, it's really important to keep this drumbeat going on not only the current programming, but also the future. So very excited, very excited. So thank you so much, Dr. Williams. Thank you to the team. And with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.